You are listening to The Art of Sales. Everyone sells every day, and this is your source for conversational, real-world sales and prospecting methods that you are comfortable using and that get results. You'll help people buy instead of pushing them into being sold. Here's your host, Art Subcheck.
A huge part of success in sales is how we react to situations where we don't accomplish what we want. So in other words, how we react to no's. Now, some people mistakenly call this rejection, which is true for you only if you think it is. Now, I covered that in detail in episode number 17, and we also had on as a guest one of the foremost experts in getting no's, Andrea Waltz, who along with Richard Fenton co-authored the great book, Go for No. So I recommend that you go back and listen to Andrea's episode number 17, and then also my episode number 4, where I talk about how to never experience rejection again. Now, today, we're going to talk to someone who took the advice in Go for No and actually kind of went overboard with it. He's taking it to a massive degree as far as his action. And let me just read an email or excerpts from an email that I got just under a month ago. And it said, Art, I found your podcast searching for Go for No. And I don't know if you still have an interest in the topic or in talking to someone actually going for no, but I'm in the midst of a project I call a summer of 1,000 no's. And I'm at number 337. Will you be number 338? He goes on to say, I get an average of 12 no's per day and will reach my goal on or before August 31st. Feel free to consider this a request to be a guest on your podcast. And likewise, feel free to send me a no. He said, I'm not a guru. I have nothing to sell your listeners, but I do enjoy telling my story as a way to encourage others to get out of their comfort zone and hear no more often. Really, please do send me a no if this is not a fit. Getting 1,000 no's is a lot, and every little bit helps. And I wrote back and I said, well, Leo, sorry to disappoint you, but this actually would be of interest to my listeners. So today we have Leo Quinn, who is and this is his words, former cowardly marketing consultant from upstate New York, who decided in the summer of 2019 to overcome his fear and seek massive rejection inspired by the book, Go for No. At the time of this recording, he has heard no 548 times on his way to a summer of 1,000 no's. And you can see where he is today, or depending on when you're listening to this, you'll probably see the final results at adventuresinrejection.com. Leo, welcome.
Disappointed to be here, Art.
Disappointed because you didn't get the no?
Exactly. I was looking for a no. Now you're going to have to make me work a little harder to get that 1,000th no.
Well, I could probably ask for something else, and still I could still give you a no.
All right.
So let's get right into this, and I think the obvious first question is, what are you doing?
I am intentionally increasing my failure rate. I am trying to sell my marketing services. So far, mostly by phone, calling various businesses in various niches and asking if they have an interest in my services, and getting a lot of rejection. I'm also getting some yeses, some maybes that I never would have gotten without this project. But my primary goal is to hear the word no or some variation 1,000 times on or before August 31st.
Okay, we're going to unpack that a little bit more, but I think the big question is, why?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that I bought that book, Go for No, 11 years ago, March 26th, 2008. Even though I've talked about it many times, I've recommended it hundreds of times in that time frame, doing local marketing talks, and I've recommended their No Challenge in November, where it gets to be really exciting because it's November. It's in the name of the month. I've never actually personally taken on that challenge to intentionally increase my failure rate. So I decided that this summer I was actually going to bite the bullet and do it.
Okay, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper here. Still, there's got to be another why behind this, that you're subjecting yourself to this.
Well, I'm not getting any younger. I've discovered that I'm 51 years old. My business isn't anywhere near where it should be. And I don't want to be a burden to the people who are going to have to take care of me in my 90s and 100s. And so I want to be, well capitalized so they don't have to worry about anything taking care of Uncle Leo.
Okay, so actually you have the same why as many people in sales, which is we need to go out there and beat the bushes, make things happen so that we can provide a better life for ourselves and our family and everybody around us. And of course, avoid the pain, like you said, which is not being a burden to anyone else.
Right.
So you mentioned that you're doing this primarily by phone. So again, you're doing it like a lot of people who are listening to this podcast. Do you consider yourself a salesperson first and foremost, or describe what you do?
No, absolutely not. And all the hardcore salespeople listening to this think I'm a wimp, but I do not consider myself. I've read all the Zig Ziglar books, but I just don't have his Southern accent. I think he gets away with a lot of stuff. He got away with a lot of stuff because of that Southern accent. So I consider myself anything but a salesperson. I've done a tremendous amount of direct mail in my life, sent a tremendous number of emails, but really relied on people getting back in touch with me rather than me reaching out and say, hey, did you get my email? Did you get that thing I sent in the mail? So I really do not consider myself a salesperson.
So describe your business. What is it that you do?
I'm a marketing consultant. I call myself a marketing implementer. I'm looking to work with the companies, the business owners who know what they should be doing. They've got the books, they've been to the seminars, they bought the courses. They just don't have the time to implement what they should be doing to grow their business. So I coordinate all the implementation, marketing support, I guess is a good way to describe it.
So that sounds like many of us entrepreneurs. We know what we should be doing, but we're on to the next thing before we finish the one that we should be doing.
Right.
So in the past, if I understand you correctly, what you've been doing is primarily inbound marketing, generating the leads. Somebody would contact you, you close the deal, but now you're out there actually doing the prospecting.
That's right. I would send, I'm a Dan Kennedy fan. I would send lumpy mail, send emails, but as I say, I would never follow up. And the fortune isn't the follow up. I say that hundreds of times a year, but I really never lived it until now. So yes, getting on the phone has been the primary way I've done this so far. In my next, I'm actually up to 560 since I sent you that email. So in my next 440, I want to do more in-person no's or follow-ups.
Well, if I should have provided you a copy of Smart Calling before you started this, because it would have helped you to not get as many no's and probably get some more yeses. So tell me how you're doing it. Let's get into the logistics.
Sure. I develop a list from an online database. My first go around, my first 300 or so no's were pizza shops. And I was offering them text message marketing because for a couple reasons. One, most pizza shops understand text message marketing and can see the value in it if you talk to the right person. And I knew I'd never run out of pizza shops. There are 1,000,001 of them. And I didn't know at the beginning how difficult it was going to be for me to get no's. So I wanted to pick a niche where there was a lot of opportunity.
So walk me through a typical call. What are you doing? What are you saying?
They answer the phone. I say, hi, I was calling today to find out if you do any sort of text message marketing. Usually the answer to that question is no. And then I'll say, are you the person that would make the decision about trying something like that? And usually the answer is no. And then is that person available? And usually the answer is no. Now, I don't count that as 3 no's. If the owner isn't there and they're not empowered to make a decision, they tell me usually when I can call back if I want it. I don't count that as a no. I just hang up and go on to the next one.
What do you count as a no then when you finally get the no from the person who's qualified to give you the no?
Thank you, we're not interested. No, I'd never do any. The first no I got from a pizza shop was I wouldn't subject my customers to that. And I guess he didn't really get somebody hasn't explained text message marketing to him, but that was my first no from a pizza shop. So a no, a hang up after question 1, 2, or 3. I've only had one person drop an F-bomb on me, and that made me laugh. So yes, a hang up, a no, or an F-bomb.
So was the F-bomb kind of a mean F-bomb or kind of a laughing F-bomb?
I think he was just having a bad day, and I'm not sure which number question I got through before I got it, but I got it from him.
Is that the worst thing that's happened to you so far?
Yes. I felt worse after I called a pizza shop. I thought the phone rang, someone answered. There was nothing spoken on that end, so I said hello, and an elderly lady said, "Leave me alone." So I immediately went back online to confirm I had the right number. I did have the right number. The business seemed to be still in business. So I'm not sure if that place just went out recently and she got the phone number. I'm not sure what happened, but I felt bad that I had really upset this seemingly older lady. But other than that, nothing has traumatized me, I guess.
She's probably not selling a lot of pizzas that way.
Exactly right. And I was calling a different area code, so maybe she just figured it was a solicitation call of some kind and answers all out of area calls like that. I don't know.
All right. So you've heard 560 no's, and getting an F-bomb, is the worst thing that's happened to you so far. What were your expectations and what were your fears when you first started this? Yeah.
First of all, I had no idea how long it would take to get 1,000 no's. I knew I wasn't going door to door for all of them. That would be a big waste of time, because getting people, the business owner, decision maker on the phone is one thing. Getting them to come out from the back in person is even harder, probably. So I knew I would be doing
dangerous too.
Yes, right. So I knew I was be doing a lot on the phone. I had no concept of how long it would take me. So the first day I got serious about it was June 10th. I decided I was going to make 100 calls. And it was just 100 calls. Busy signal counted as a call, disconnected counted as a call. It was just going to be straight 100. And I did that, and I got 29 no's and 6 yeses or maybes. And at that point, I determined that I would be able to get 12 no's a day, which I needed to get between June 10th and August 31st to come up with 1,000. So, at the beginning, I had no expectation. I really had no idea. I was a little worried that I had bit off more than I could chew. But after that first 100 calls, which took me 2 hours and 49 minutes, I figured out I could probably do it.
So in that short period of time, you got 30 no's, but you also got 6 yeses. That's a pretty good hit rate.
It is, and it's a yes or a maybe to my free trial for the text message marketing. So, so far, only 2 of the people who've said yes on these pizza shop phone calls have gone on and started it. So I think a lot of the trouble with something like this is you get a lot of maybes that are from people who just are reluctant to disappoint someone by saying no. So, there's something you have to be aware of when you're doing a project like this, is some of the yeses might just be because they don't want to disappoint you.
That's an interesting observation. One thing that we always teach is a decision is much better than a maybe or a put off, a brush off, because we really can't deal with those. We don't know what to do, but at least if we get the no, we know where we stand, which obviously you're experiencing right now. Now let's go back to when I asked you what your expectations were, what your fears were. You really have not experienced anything that you thought might happen in a negative sense. I mean, again, you got one F-bomb, and that's the worst thing that's happened so far.
That's right. And I had one lady say, "Please take me off your list," which I don't have a list, but she's off it now. Other than that, really no problem at all. We are not interested. No, thank you. That's just the typical. Most people have been very polite and nice.
So what would you say you've learned so far, just halfway through this in your challenge?
Well, it's actually kind of fun when you can gamify it. I'm keeping pretty good records, so I know that I'm approaching 2,000 phone calls that I've made, and I look forward now to the hang-ups, because it means I'm closer to my goal of 1,000 no's. So I think it was Andrea Waltz, the co-author there of Go for No. I think she says when you have rejection as your goal, it's easy to get on a winning streak. So I've been on lots of winning streaks in this last month or so.
So would you say that you've desensitized yourself to what you're actually feeling when you're hearing these?
Yes, at least on the phone. That's why I say I want to get more no's in person. Those are a little more nerve-wracking. I got a fun one last week involving some blacktop I wanted for my driveway. I've got a lip on my garage, and I want to fix it with just a bucket of blacktop. So I saw these guys putting in a new parking lot at a apartment complex around the corner. I drove by and I thought to myself, I wish those guys would give me a half a bucket of tar. And I said, well, wait a minute, I'm looking for no's. So I turned around and went back and I asked the guy, and he said, let me check with my nephew. And so he rolls away on the steamroller and he comes back. He says, just buy the guy some beer. And I said, well, what kind? And he said, Miller Lite, and a 36 pack of Miller and a 36 pack of Coors. And so he wanted me to get the 5 guys that were working there 72 beers. And I had offered him $10 for a bucket of tar or blacktop. And so I turned down his offer, and I counted that as a no because he didn't accept my offer. And it wasn't, it was a goofy thing to ask. That's why I didn't mind asking it. I've done a lot of goofy things in my life. So it was just, I knew I would have a funny story, whether they said yes or no. But my primary goal for this last 40 is more like that, more in-person no's.
Yeah, actually, I would have suggested just asking for it for free when they said give me some beer, because then that might have got you the no.
Right.
So it seems to be, just based on what you're saying here, this has changed you a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I'm much more. If next time I buy a car, next time I buy anything high ticket, I'm going to ask for a discount. Is this the best price you can do? And maybe I'll have my name tag on, and maybe I won't. Your viewers, your listeners can't see it, but if they go to adventuresinrejection.com, I've always got a picture of my latest number. I wear this name tag around with the current number, and it gets people talking, and people ask, what's that number? Sometimes I'll say it's my IQ, but then I'll explain what it is. And, most of them are scared to death to try something like that. So it's a nice talking point too.
And I think what you started out with is something that a lot of people have similar feelings about, and that is we have a fear of the unknown, what might happen. Obviously, what's happening to you is you're not experiencing those things, and you're showing some success in the process. So you've got some yeses. Are there any other positive results that
Sure.
you've got from this?
So far, I can trace $1,887 in income that I wouldn't have as a result of this. None of that has actually come from the phone. It's come from me being public about this, talking to people about the project, and them saying, "Oh, what do you do? Oh, you can do this for me." Normally, I take down any motivational things when the cleaning lady is coming. But I left this one up, and she asked about it, and she said, "Oh, you should call my son-in-law. He's got his own real estate company. He's always looking for marketing ideas." So that I got an appointment with him. I also got a no from him so far, but now that we have a relationship, if I find something that would work well for a real estate agent, I'm certainly going to feel comfortable sending it to him, and maybe getting another no, but maybe getting a yes. So ironically, all the money I've made so far, and 700 of the 1887 is recurring. It happens every month. Ironically, all of that has come from everything but the phone calls.
But the important point there, just like it is for all of us in sales and prospecting, is that when we are in motion, when we're putting ourselves out there, when we're in the game, it has residual effects. Mm-hmm. We create other opportunities simply because we're in action, not inaction. We are taking action, and it's amazing how lucky we get when again we're putting in the activity, and that's a great example of that.
Yes.
What has surprised you the most about this?
People's reaction to it. I have. I do some local networking, and some people are very excited about it, and they say, "Hey, I'm going to do the same thing." One gal had she called it a slight panic attack, just at the thought of getting more no's for her business. So it's been interesting to see people's reaction. Now, in my Facebook group, there's only 30 of us in there at this point. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one taking systematic action toward this goal. It's the summertime here in upstate New York, and people are out having fun on the beaches and the boats and all that sort of stuff. But I've also gotten better, which surprised me, at my time management. I have to set aside time every day to get my no's. And I was a little behind today. We were scheduled to talk at the top of the hour. At 45 minutes before you and I were scheduled to talk, I still had to get my 11 no's. And I don't have to finish them before this call. I was actually one ahead, so I only needed to get 11 today instead of 12. And I, bit the bullet, and I made 24 phone calls and got 11 no's. So that really took me not too long at all. But so time management has been an unexpected benefit as well. I'm much better at managing my time.
So you have 440
to go. Yeah.
440 to go. How are you going to stay motivated to just finish this thing off?
Well, it's easy. And one of the reasons I reached out to podcasters was because I knew if I had been really public about this, that's going to keep me motivated. I've got 30 people and 29 other people in the Facebook group that are watching, and that's keeping me motivated. The fact that a lot of the podcasters want to talk to me at the end, and I want to have an interesting story to tell. My name is Leo Quinn. I would love to be able to tell you that I quintupled my income during the summer of 1,000 no's, but I'll be very happy if it just doubles.
I like that. As you're doing this, I can detect that you're a different person attitude-wise than when you first started. And let me just address something about what you're calling this. And I talked about this at the beginning, and that's this whole notion of rejection. And some people might say this is all semantics, but our thoughts and our actions tend to follow our words. And my feeling is nobody is rejected unless they allow themselves to feel rejected from a thing or an experience, because the no's themselves are an experience. And at the beginning, maybe you looked at it as, oh, the no is rejection. But it seems to me now, like you even said, you're gamifying it and you're looking forward to it. And I would guess that you're not taking those no's as personal rejection, are you?
Not at all. And that's what I've been telling people also, is these people have forgotten about me 1 minute after the phone call is over. They're on to their lives. So, I shouldn't spend any time dwelling on it either.
So how do you feel this is going to help you moving forward, both professionally with your business and then also personally?
Yeah, personally, I'm not sure. I'm in a long-term relationship, so I can't. I've checked, and she won't let me go out and try this on women. Rejection.
They just don't understand.
Yes, I know. It's science. It's science. But no, that's not going to happen. I think I know next time I buy a big ticket item, I'll be asking for a discount, or is that the best price you can do? Business-wise, I think I'll get more clients. Also, I think I'll probably turn this into some sort of book, not just my results, but results of anybody who's tried a project like this, a challenge like this. There are lots of stories out there on the internet of writers, particularly, who are trying to get published in magazines or newspapers or have their books published, who took on rejection challenges and had fantastic results. So I want to talk to a bunch of people like that and put it into a book form. So it inspires people who are in the business of getting yeses, getting their own yeses, to get out there and pursue the no's a little more vigorously. I'm talking tomorrow via phone with a Aflac office in Las Vegas, Nevada. One of the gals heard a podcast I was on and bought her whole office Go for No books, bought her whole office the chalkboard name tags that I have. And she wants me to come on and talk to them about their August of 1,000 no's. All those Aflac people, she wants to go out and get 1,000 no's. So it's already inspired some action in people, and I hope it continues to do that.
Well, there's no doubt that you will be an inspiration for a lot of people that take this to heart, because it is a huge fear for so many people. I actually, for years, anybody's been through any of my workshops, and I've done over 1,500 of them, they know that when we get to the closing section, we really don't focus on goofy closing techniques, because my feeling is the close or the ask is really the natural culmination of everything we've done up to this point. It's like running in the ball from the 1 yard line or the 1 inch line. But the thing is, we still need to run the play. So therefore, what I suggest people do, and this is the challenge I give them, is for a period of 1 week, I want them to go out and ask for things in all areas of their life, professionally and personally, that they might not have asked for otherwise. And I already guarantee what they're going to experience. One is, like you are, they're going to hear some no's. Big deal. So what? That's just part of the process. Number two, they're going to get some yeses, just like you are, because if you're in the game, if you're asking for things, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And you said about asking for the blacktop and asking for a discount. I mean, this is a way of life. I mean, I've got story after story. I mean, I've probably saved over $1 million over the years just doing this and gotten other things. But but really most importantly, the third thing is what you're already experiencing is that it changes your attitude towards simply asking for what you want. I mean, no ask, no get, right?
That's right.
So, Leo, we could talk for hours, and I do want to have you back on after this is over so we can talk more about your final results and how you ultimately changed as a result, because you're going to have more experiences.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, let's end this with some final advice you have for professional salespeople today, and really anyone as it relates to hearing no.
And just a sidebar on your idea there. One of the things I did is we have a toll road here in New York. And I was on it a few weeks ago, and the toll was 30 cents. So I rolled up, gave him my ticket, and waited for him to say 30 cents. When he did, I held up a $1 lottery ticket that we have in New York here. And I asked, can I pay with this lottery ticket? And he smiled and said, no, sir. So I paid the toll, and I gave him the ticket just for playing along. So that's an example of a non-threatening way people can have fun with getting more no's. But in terms of advice, number one, don't speak for someone else, meaning don't give yourself a no from someone else. And I have a perfect example of that. I was listening to a podcast before I was on. I listened to his most recent one just to see what the tone was like and all that. And he was speaking with a lady, and they were talking about the sorry state of cold email, how much they get, how much they hate it, etc. And if I had heard that before my project, I probably would have said, I'm not going to bother. He's going to ignore my email and not even answer. But I did, and I was on his podcast as a result of cold email. So don't give yourself a no from someone else. Allow them to give you a no and maybe give you a yes. And finally, in doing all the research I've done on this, I've never run across a story of anybody who took on a legitimate rejection challenge and had a poor result. If they stuck with it and they did it, most of them have, the ones I've found, all have had fantastic results, and their lives were changed because of it. So get out there, give it a try, be public about it. I think that's important. Be public about your rejection goal, and I think you'll be very surprised at how it turns out for you.
Wow, great advice. Let me just reiterate that and paraphrase. So the first one is don't give yourself the no. Make sure you hear it from them.
Right.
Because knowing is better than assuming or presuming.
Right.
And then the other one is go public with it and have some accountability when you're doing it. And when you're putting in that activity, you're going to have a good result. I mean, it's the science is there to back that up.
Right.
Fantastic. So, Leo, please share with us how your website again and how people can get in contact with you.
adventuresinrejection.com. It's got my phone number and my email address. It's got a link to our Facebook group if people want to get in there and be public about their goal of whatever it is, was 10 a no a day or 30 a month or 100, whatever it is. Get in there, make a public declaration, and keep us updated. So it's at adventuresinrejection.com.
Okay, and we will put that in the show notes as well. And tell us about your marketing business in case somebody wants to get in contact with you, and who your ideal client is.
Thank you. My ideal client is the business owner who has gone to Google and he's typed in, how do I get more customers for whatever my business is? And he's been to the seminars, he's got the books, he's bought the books, he's gone to the library. He or she knows exactly what they should be doing to market their business. They just are so busy working in their business, they don't have time to work on their business. That's what my company will do for them. We'll take charge of their marketing and see that it all gets done.
So let's say we have a pizza shop owner listening to this and they really love your message, and they contact you and say, hey, Leo, I'd like you to do this for me. Will you do it for free? What do you tell them?
Maybe for the first 30 days, but not after that.
So you'd give them a no then?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So they can start with their own no challenge.
I hate giving out no's personally, but I love getting them now.
Leo, thank you so much. Oh, one more thing, everybody. We know what time it is.
Gratitude will be our end. Every way you'll never feel what they say. It's the art of the sales quote of the day.
That's right. It's time for the quote of the day. So, Leo, one of our regular features is the quote of the day. So I'd like to ask you, what is one of your favorite quotes and why is it important to you?
This one is all around my house right now. It's the quote that inspired this whole summer of 1,000 no's. It's from Andrea Waltz. It's, I can achieve every goal and reach every dream by simply hearing no more often.
What a great quote. And everybody, I would encourage you, go back, listen to episode 17, where Andrea was on for about 45 minutes or so talking about this very subject, which was the inspiration for Leo. And again, thank you so much for being on today. We will hear from you again.
Thank you, Art.
Everybody else, thank you for sharing investing your valuable time with us today. I do have an ask for you. Would you please share this show with 2 other colleagues or people or friends who would also benefit? Send them to our show site, theartofsales.com, theartofsales.com. And if you'd like hundreds of other free sales tips, audio, video, as well as text, go to my blog, smartcalling.com, smartcalling.com. Until next time, go out and make it your best sales day ever.